Hello, welcome back. So today I want to look at, or rather present to you, some OpenCourseWare and different research or different resources that you can find online for free that you can use to familiarize yourself with concepts you're going to be learning during your undergraduate program. So today we're going to be looking at applied math. So I'm going to highlight some concepts that you're generally going to learn in undergraduate applied math programs, and I'm going to show and highlight some free resources that you can use to familiarize yourself with those concepts. So the first thing I want to look at, and this isn't really like math in the traditional sense, but you're going to learn this in math programs. It's how to code, right? Specifically in C++ and Python. And there's other languages that you might learn for other applications or in certain, obviously from program to program, the languages you learn may differ, or you may have a program where you touch on all of them or whatever. But C++ and Python specifically, one thing that I recommend is Harvard's CS50 if you've never coded before. It's just an introduction to computer science class. So you start with C and then you learn a little bit of some other languages, but it's mostly C. So you can kind of familiarize yourself with coding and also start to get used to kind of the rigor and pace of a more advanced class like CS50 with Harvard, because I've found, at least in my experience, that this class is kind of quick and it can be, frustrating, which, I mean, learning to code can be no matter what, but especially with this course, 'cause it's a little more rigorous and fast paced. So yeah, but that is one thing I highly recommend if you want to kind of get into coding, learn to code. But that's enough about that. Another thing for C++ and C specifically, and I think there's something on Python or some things on Python, I'm not exactly sure, but on MIT OpenCourseWare, which that's going to be mentioned a lot in this video, there's a lot of good resources on MIT OpenCourseWare, but they have C++ and C introduction classes, so you can look at those, work through those, whatever, to understand those concepts and familiarize yourself with those concepts. Okay, linear algebra. So you've probably obviously never taken a linear algebra course while in high school. So this is kind of fun to look at, because if you look at, people talking about this class or subject, on forums or online or whatever, they describe it as like your first real math class, meaning that this is going to be the first class in which you're doing things like writing proofs. But it's not super complex in the sense that you need to know a lot before you can take it. The only, prerequisite that you'll find is just high school algebra. So if you're familiar and you understand high school algebra, you'll be all right to take it and you'll be able to understand it. And one thing that's really fun to look at to kind of, get excited about it, 3 blue, 1 brown's essence of linear algebra. That's right, lin alg. He has a YouTube playlist where he goes through linear algebra concepts and explains them. So they're very interesting videos, very intriguing, and they do a good job at getting you excited about the subject. So that's what I recommend for that. But also, MIT obviously has a linear algebra course that you can look at too on their OpenCourseWare. So next for stats, MIT OpenCourseWare also has a good stats course on the website. It's an introduction to probability and statistics class. And I think it would be useful maybe to look at it and maybe not, obviously you don't need to completely understand everything in these classes because that's why you're going to college, to learn. But to kind of look at and get an idea of the things you might see in a college stats class. Obviously, these are all introduction courses, but even just seeing what you're going to see in an introduction course can be useful because there's things that you're going to learn in a college stats class, especially an MIT level kind of college stats class, that you're not going to see in your high school AP stats or data science or normal stats class. And yeah, it could be useful to look at that. Okay, next we have discrete math, and this is also commonly covered in applied math programs. And you probably haven't taken a discrete math or discrete math adjacent course in high school. So discrete math is kind of looking at, rather than continuous systems like you would be looking at in your calculus class, it's like sets of numbers. Like you're not looking at real numbers. You're looking at integers. Meaning you're not looking at a set of all real numbers, for example. It's not, like calculus. You're looking at sets of integers, for example. And that is applicable in computer science or coding because, when you're working with arrays or whatever of numbers, that's, sets of integers, not continuous systems. So anyways, to get a preview into the kind of things you'll see in a discrete math course, you can look at MIT OpenCourseWare online for free, and you can look at their mathematics for computer science course, which is a discrete math course. So for calculus, MIT OpenCourseWare has single variable calculus classes in its system, but you've probably already taken a single variable calculus class in high school, maybe even two if you took AP Calculus A, B, and BC. But to extend away from single variable calculus, it's probably useful maybe if you want to look at YouTube for multivariable calculus lectures. It could be useful to obviously, look into it, watch lectures, and also doing things like this, just familiarizing yourself with the concepts you're going to be learning in your program can help you choose your program or declare, or choose what major you're going to declare in your application or whatever. If you're not exactly sure, it's important to look at what you're actually going to be learning so you can, understand what you want to do, not make a uninformed decision. So the last thing I want to look at is physics. And the only real prerequisite for this class is going to be just single variable calculus, which you've probably taken while in high school, or if you're taking it during your first year of undergrad and you're taking physics at the same time, that's fine too. It can work as a co-requisite. And so that makes it good because you can, go look at it, learn it, understand it just from taking a single variable calculus class. And once again, if you haven't noticed the pattern already, MIT OpenCourseWare has a good intro to physics class called Physics 1 Classical Mechanics that you can look at and learn. And also obviously YouTube lectures, wherever you can find lectures. That's good to kind of familiarize yourself with what the class is going to be like, the pace, whatever. And also you can start to understand some of the concepts. Thanks a lot for watching. That's all I have today. Please comment if you want to recommend any other programs that you want me to touch on, and or if there's anything specifically that was in this video that you want me to go more in depth on. And also, please like, subscribe, and if you have any critiquing for me in the comments about things that you think or things that I forgot or things that I could have done better, please comment those, and thank you very much for watching.